guy who led a lot of people to wins in the first week of the fantasy playoffs, Kyle Pitts, 11 catches, 166 yards, and 3 touchdowns, the game that no one saw coming. I think you and I had him probably ranked higher than most. Harmon mentioned to me, I think we had him ranked 4th, but still, nobody saw this kind of game coming from him. What's your trust meter for him moving forward, though, when we have Raheem Morris saying that it looks like Drake London might be back this week?
Right. Yeah, certainly nobody saw coming the touchdowns, right? Because you see games where targets are there. He had 10 targets the previous game. We've seen games where he has yardage, gets downfield, but he has not been a touchdown scorer, even in that fabulous rookie season when he went over 1,000 yards. I think he only had 1 touchdown that year. But Pitts, I put him in the circle of trust, in the full trust, whatever you call it, the number, the grade A ranking. And the only reason why, Justin, is because at tight end, it's Trey McBride in his own world. And then there's, Bowers and Kittle, you're going to play them. I don't see why Kyle Pitts isn't as good as anybody else, right? I mean, Travis Kelce just lost Mahomes. We'll get to the Chiefs later. There's a lot of tight ends who are in and out. They share reps. I mean, even like when the Ravens had the Bengals last week, they didn't take advantage of it. That was a disappointing game. I think they only threw 12 passes in that game. If you have Pitts, he's not your backup to one of the big 3, you're going to start him. And I would think 6 to 9 targets, 6 to 10 targets off the bus. He maintains some goal line equity. Obviously, we would like him more if London doesn't play, and we like him less if London suits up. Although you could also make the case that if London's on the field, maybe the octane of the offense is better. Maybe they move the ball more. Maybe the rising tide that lifts all boats, that type of thing. But I get it. You're out there, you're thinking, Kyle Pitts, man, the moment I start him, he's going to have 23 yards. I know everybody's thinking that, but again, I can only see 3 tight ends who are obviously in front of him. And then it's like, Dallas Goedert or Pitts, that's a discussion to me. Jake Ferguson's kind of fallen off. Kelce, I don't know what to make of Kansas City. We'll hash that out in a little bit, but I think Pitts we talked about you and I having him at tight end 4 last week. And, anytime I can share a right ranking with you, I'm happy to do it because, again, you have absolutely been masterful for that your entire career, and I'm so glad you're doing it for Yahoo now. But I got to figure Pitts is in my top 5 going forward.
So I want to feel that way. I really do. He has been great, not just a big game last week, over 80 yards in 3 straight games here. But the return of Drake London is what has me scared. And the whole point you made about not being able to trust many of the tight ends after the top couple guys, I totally agree with you. But I think that just means I'm worried about all of them. I don't know that feels like all of a sudden that means Pitts rises. I think he's just in this big group of guys who are kind of more like low-end tight end ones that pop up for big games once in a while. And again, with Drake London off the field, Kyle Pitts has been a top 5 fantasy tight end. He's been fantastic. But with Drake London coming back, assuming that he's healthy, if he's not coming back as, a shell of his former self, if he comes back and he's healthy and he's, commanding targets the way he was, and he's as big of a piece of this offense as he was before, that's what really has me worried about Pitts, because Pitts' last 3 games with Drake London, under 40 yards in every single game. He only had 1 touchdown in the first 10 outings, tight end 21 in fantasy points per game from week 1 to week 11 with London out there most of the time. I just think he goes back to being that like mid to low end tight end 1. And yes, that means you're going to put him in your lineup because there's not a ton of great options that you feel super confident in at the position. But I still only have some trust for him. I can't go the full trust route on this one. I know it's been so good recently, and you hope the coaching staff saw that and they use him more than they were using him. They throw to him more than they were throwing to him earlier in the season when London was out there. But I don't have confidence. Maybe it's the Falcons offense as a whole, but Drake London draws so much that if he's healthy, I think it goes back to the way it was before, Scotty.
Right. And so I'm looking at industry ranks. We're taping this Monday night, coming to you live, Yahoo. We will do our rankings, initial ranks on Tuesday. I know Justin probably feels the same way. Those are initial ranks. We will make them better as the weeks go along. So I never say take any Monday or Tuesday rank with anything past a grain of salt. But right now, Pitts is tight end 3 in the early industry ranks. And he's around guys like Goddard and Bowers and Fannin and Tyler Warren. We mentioned Parkinson. He's right now tight end 8. Kelce goes down to tight end 9, early ranks in the industry this week. And a lot of these guys, they're like the 3rd or 4th option on their team, or they're tied to, Fannon's tied to an uncertain Shedeur Sanders. Warren is a great player, but he's tied to Phillip Rivers, who's 127 years old. We'll get to the Colts a little bit later. So you're going to have to accept, again, if you have McBride or Kittle, don't rub it in. We don't want to hear it. Even Bowers has slipped down to tight end 5 this week because he's got the Houston defense, is probably the best defense in football. So you're going to have to handle some flaws. I know that there's no floor with almost any of these guys. You just have to accept it. But I'm willing to bet on talent again with Kyle Pitts. I wasn't sure I'd ever say that phrase again and link him with Kyle. The bet on talent would apply to Kyle Pitts. I'd kind of written him off as a lost cause. I wanted to blame it on Arthur Smith, but then he was such a mid player after the Arthur Smith era. But man, I'm back in. I'm ready to be heard again, Justin.
Well, I'm wondering if you want to bet on talent on this next guy here. And we'll talk about him and his quarterback together. J.J. McCarthy, but Justin Jefferson, like the ultimate bet on talent player. And yet that bet's been losing basically every week for the last stretch here. How do you feel about these two in terms of trust in the fantasy playoffs with J.J. McCarthy and Justin Jefferson, who has become like a wide receiver 3 for fantasy after being a top 5 guy for so many years?
Yeah, it was so weird facing start-sit questions last week, and that's what I do the final hour before kickoff on Sunday when you guys are on Fantasy Football Live, and I know you tackle a lot of them as well. Justin Jefferson, a start-sit question. It's such uncharted territory. And what's unsettling to me, because look, I'm a Kevin O'Connell, walk into the burning building guy, and when McCarthy got off to the poor start, I'm like, O'Connell, he's done it with other quarterbacks, he's done it with lesser talents, he'll figure it out, he'll coach him up. Maybe the injury was a good thing, if only to take a step back from McCarthy and you kind of reappraise the situation. And then McCarthy comes back, he plays poorly. And now the last 2 games, he's been pretty good. They win a game, 2-game winning streak now, right? And he's throwing touchdowns and he's cleaned up the mistakes. He didn't take a sack, I don't think, against Dallas. Part of that was on Matt Eberflus, who, much to Colin's dismay, is still calling that vanilla defense on the Dallas side. But McCarthy gets going and nothing for Jefferson. It's like Jefferson's not even on the field. They have no rapport, no chemistry. And I get it. I mean, 2 weeks ago, they said that Jefferson, everywhere he went, that he had two Washington defenders following him around. Washington was dead set on not getting beat by Justin Jefferson. They got beat by everybody else. It felt like, including like 17 different tight ends, but it wasn't Jefferson. But maybe this just isn't going to happen this year. You mentioned wide receiver 3 territory. That feels right. If you've built a really strong team, made the right pickups, made the right trades, I don't think Jefferson has to be in your lineup. I am not somebody who says, oh, you got to play the name guy. You got to play the first round pick. You got to play the guy, you're going to feel better if you go down with him. No, play whoever you think is best. So I put some trust on J.J. McCarthy. I hope you don't have to play him in super flex formats. He's probably a serviceable quarterback too. We saw the mobility check in with that touchdown against Dallas. And again, I like how he's being coached up, but Justin Jefferson, I have to say no trust. If you have something else that's working right now, even if it's Jacoby Myers, I'm fine with it. Even if it's a player, I don't know, maybe Khalil Shakir you could play over Justin Jefferson. I would never say this back before the season, but I'm not going to get married to the names. I only want the numbers. And right now, Justin Jefferson, just no chemistry in this offense. I don't trust him. I think it's okay to bench him in week 16.
I agree. And I can't believe that I'm actually going to say this, but like, I almost feel strangely, if you need a player at his position, I almost feel strangely better about playing McCarthy this week than I do about playing Justin Jefferson in my lineup, which is just the most bizarre thing. And part of the thing for McCarthy is the matchups, right? Like you mentioned, the Commanders, the Cowboys, it's been pretty easy for him, but now he gets another easy one. He's going against the Giants. They're one of the 5 easiest matchups for fantasy quarterbacks. And so I think he can come through again because he's been putting up okay stats the last 2 weeks, where Jefferson, he's had the same easy matchups and it just hasn't been there. So how can we have any confidence that he is going to come through even against an easy opponent? I mean, failed to reach 25 yards each of the last 2 games. And the most recent one, it's 8 targets. Like, it's not even like they're not throwing the ball to him. He had opportunities. He could have caught a touchdown in the end zone. He dropped it. I mean, I think McCarthy maybe needs to do that Josh Allen thing that he had to do early in his career. He needs to figure out some of the pace on the ball at different points of the field. You might not need to completely wire it to guys, but regardless, Jefferson always seemed like he came down with a pass like that and now isn't, even in the easiest matchup. So yeah, I'm right there with you. And it's so bad. Like, I was pretty close to saying you're cooked, bro, for Justin Jefferson. And at any moment he could come back and put up a good game, but that's kind of where we're at with him now, which is just incredible. Let's talk about another young quarterback.
Let me say one more thing.
Oh, sure. Go ahead. What do you got?
I should have mentioned this earlier in my missive about Jefferson. So they trotted this stat out last night. Of all qualified quarterback to receiver matchups, targets, okay, the lowest quarterback rating in the league is when J.J. McCarthy targets Justin Jefferson. I mean, how is that even possible?
Like, yeah.